first difficulty to choose this particular service, which was again a process which some of you understand is quite tough and competitive. But he started his career as a medical doctor, but in the process did several degrees in history and also in political science. He was a Fulbrighter and also did a master's degree from Georgetown. So, academic credentials are there, but much more importantly, very few have the kind of passion that one would like to see among the civil servants, but also particularly among the foreign service officers. And the topic that he chose is an unusual topic because the question that we keep asking ourselves, and particularly in the Gulf states where we have a large number of Pakistanis working, and the facilities that one thinks in terms of availability of facilities, one is really disappointed. And one finds it really hard whether the Pakistanis are really helped or not. And the perception is that Pakistani embassies do not do much to help and facilitate the ordinary individual. So one of the questions that one sort of asks him is, is that the right perception about Pakistan's embassies? Is it only through who knows whom, which is our culture, that we are able to get things done? Or is there a possibility, and he thinks that there is a narrative that one can make, it can be very critical narrative. So the question that one would like to sort of raise is, well, what is it that foreign service missions are able to do or unable to do? What are some of the constraints? What are some of the opportunities? How do you go about encouraging people to be in the countries where they are, and what kind of facilities can you provide? So, that's one part of it. The second part, which is equally important, he has had the opportunity to work with two foreign ministers. One of the key questions is what kind of relationship should there be between the civil servant or a bureaucrat and a elected public official? An elected public official is somebody who really tries to set the agenda, pursue a policy, and the task of the public servant is to really help the politician in some way or the other. But much more importantly, play an advisory role in terms of what the government of the time would like to do. So in that sense, this is again critical. So one would like to hear from him, what kind of experience did he have with two foreign ministers? Was it a learning experience? Was it an experience in which he thought the time was lost? Or is it something which one has to sort of really understand that political leadership does not have much of a role in the policy process? So if that is the case, the question again is, do the foreign service officers have a role? And I have just put out a paper on foreign policy of Pakistan, and this gives me an opportunity to sell myself. So take it in that spirit. But the book is for the undergraduates, and Skandar Riyad is the editor. And the chapter is on foreign policy of Pakistan. And the key question is, and which I try to sort of push, that whether one likes it or not, the foreign service of Pakistan does play a role. So the question is, what is the size of that role? What is the nature of that role? And can one really rely on the contribution of foreign service of Pakistan in some ways really designing or even formulating or influencing the policy process? So these are some of the things that I thought I will lay out for him. He has his own presentation, but you will be free to ask questions. And I've already told him that he can take up to 30 to 40 minutes, and we would like to hear: is there humanitarian work that is done by the embassies, or is it an oxymoron that no, there is no such thing as humanitarian work that Pakistan embassies are really capable of doing? So, Your Excellency, thank you once again, and it is over to you now.
It's an honor and privilege to be here. कई दफ़ा आई एम नॉट गुड एट उर्दू बट कई दफ़ा उर्दू में बात करने को दिल करता है मैं आपके जब गेट पे एंटर, मैं आज तक फॉर्मल क्रिश्चियन कॉलेज में नहीं आया। डॉक्टर साहब मेरे लिए इल्म के हिसाब से वालिद की हैसियत रखते हैं। जब मैं 1996 में सिविल सर्विसेज अकेडमी में 24th कॉमन में गया, तो मैं उस वक्त एक इनकम्प्लीट इंसान था। मुझे इंटेलेक्चुअली इन्होंने और डॉक्टर मुनीर ने प्राइमरीली इन्होंने रीवैलिडेट किया है पाकिस्तान के ऊपर। मैंने बहुत पढ़ा हुआ था, लेकिन मुझे पता नहीं था कि मैं ठीक हूँ कि नहीं। इंसान की ज़िंदगी में ऐसे मौके आते हैं जब वो अपने आप को अंडर एस्टिमेट कर रहा होता है, और एक मोमेंट्स आते हैं ज़िंदगी में जो इंसान को ठीक कर देते हैं। तो सर दोज मोमेंट्स दैट आई यू पुट मी ऑन द राइट ट्रैक। आप जब मैं ये ख़त्म कर लूँगा, सर मैं खड़े होकर बात कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन ये फिर माइक
नहीं बोलता रहता।
अच्छा सर, मैं आपको बता रहा था, द मोमेंट आई एंटर योर गेट, द डिसिप्लिन आई सॉ, द even in the US, once you enter a place, many times they don't know your car number. Now in Oman, Asif knows, you tell them, they don't know, and then you have to call somebody. The discipline I saw here is wonderful. The environment, आप लोगों के लिए ये वो है ना, जो चीज़ मिल जाती है इंसान उसकी कदर नहीं करता। मैं नेशनल स्कूल ऑफ पब्लिक पॉलिसी में से भाग के आया, हमारा रिहर्सल हो रहा था अभी एनएमसी का, लेकिन वो रेजिमेंटेड, और मुझे लगा जैसे वो कोई प्राइमरी की जगह है और आप लोग एक फ्री दुनिया में एग्जिस्ट करते हैं। यहाँ भी प्रॉब्लम्स होंगी, लेकिन इट्स सो रिफ्रेशिंग देन the faculty room that I saw, then the way all of you are roaming around. It reminds me of Georgetown and George Washington. So I think you're at a wonderful place. Make the best of it. ये I hope it's a small room. I think you can hear me. You can hear me very well. So this is particular. This is about humanitarianism. But you can ask me any question on foreign policy, any question on the civil service of Pakistan, any question on Pakistan's history. You can say that मैं 1971 के मतलब बताएं क्या। Nothing is off the table. You can ask me Pakistan के आगे क्या होगा. You can ask me anything under the sun. But this is also very important. So the first question is, ये humanitarianism का लफ्ज़ क्या है, इसका background क्या है, what's it about? So it's in those of you who are aspiring to be civil servants or who are civil servants, I don't know, sir शायद executive course भी आता है यहाँ, they probably know more about it. लेकिन पाकिस्तान का दो चीज़ें मैं आपको बताता हूँ। आपसे अगर मैं पूछूं कि पाकिस्तान का नैरेटिव क्या है, पाकिस्तान क्यों बना, आपकी इतनी मुश्किल डिफरेंट ओपिनियन होगी और इतनी कंफ्यूज्ड ओपिनियन होगी कि I'll be surprised. At the same time, मैं आपको बताऊं, इतना आसान था पाकिस्तान के लिए अपना नैरेटिव बनाना। मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना ने जून 3 का प्लान जब एक्सेप्ट किया था, पता नहीं आप लोग आजकल पढ़ते हैं कि नहीं, तो उनसे माउंटबेटन ने पूछा था, जिन्ना डू यू एक्सेप्ट इट, जून 3 वाज अ पार्टीशन प्लान। तो जिन्ना ने हिज नॉट वाज लाइक दिस, इतनी सी, सर थैंक यू सर, हिज नॉट वाज लाइक दिस, जस्ट अ नॉट। हाउएवर जिस प्लान पे वो सीरियस थे बहुत, दैट वाज द कैबिनेट मिशन प्लान ऑफ 1946। वो इंडिया को एक यूनाइटेड लूज, लेकिन हमने उस चीज़ को इसलिए भुला दिया कि फिर हमने कहा यार इसका मतलब है लोग कहेंगे जिन्ना पाकिस्तान के अलावा भी कुछ चाहता था। जिन्ना पाकिस्तान के अलावा चाहते थे उससे पहले कि मैंने पाकिस्तान की डिमांड ले ली है, लेकिन अगर इंडिया इकट्ठा रहे और सूबों के ग्रुप्स बन जाएं और उसमें एक ह्यूमैनिटेरियन मॉडल हो, यानी कि हर रिलीजन को, कई लोग कहते हैं he was oversimplifying, he had that Gora in him and all that, but you and Islam, so Jinnah and Islam both teach the civil service and the state, if the state is going to be for the people, period. स्टेट टैंक नहीं है, स्टेट आपकी बिल्डिंग्स नहीं है, स्टेट आपकी आलीशान चीज़ें नहीं है, इट्स जस्ट प्लेन people, and you still don't get it. And at this moment, we don't get it. We have distorted the state. कोई कहता है पता नहीं इस्लाम का मॉडल था, कोई कहता है पता नहीं किस लिए। सड़कों पे पाकिस्तान का मतलब क्या, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह बहुत कहा गया, लेकिन अगर आप सब पढ़ें तो 14 पॉइंट्स के बाद इट वाज जस्ट द क्वेस्ट फॉर अ फेडरल स्टेट, जिसमें सूबों के पास अपनी जिम्मेदारियां होंगी और लोगों का होगा। सो हमारी सिविल सर्विस में से ही ह्यूमैनिटेरियनिज्म नहीं है। मैं जब सिविल सर्विस एकेडमी में मुझे मौका मिला डायरेक्टर बनने का, कोर्स में दुनिया की हर चीज़ है, काइंडनेस नहीं है, सिला रहमी नहीं है, ह्यूमैनिटी नहीं। सो इट्स मिसिंग। सो देन द क्वेश्चन इज, your foreign missions are notorious for being impervious to the demands of the people. The question is, do we talk in abstract about humanitarianism, or can you do the unthinkable and make institutions that are the best in the world? Can you conjure them up? आप उनको कर सकते हैं? And this is the story of one of our missions abroad. और इसमें अगर मेरा जिक्र या मेरी तस्वीरें बहुत आएँ तो इसका प्रॉब्लम ये है कि इस पे जितनी जब फिल्में बनी थी, ये 2018 की मूवीज़ हैं जिनके एक्सेप्ट मैंने आपको कुछ वीडियोस भी दिए। तो प्रॉब्लम ये थी कि मैं उस वक्त कौन सा चैनल था, मैंने बनाया था। मुझे कतन कोई डाउट नहीं है कि मैंने कोई अजीम काम किया या मुझ में खामियां नहीं है। ह्यूमिलिटी इज़ द बेस्ट थिंग दैट अ पर्सन कैन हैव, बट इसमें अगर मेरी बहुत ज़्यादा शक्ल आपको नज़र आए तो उसको माफ़ कर। This I've already told. So the question is, Pakistan and Pakistani officers can make the most humanitarian mission or not? ये राइट पे सुबह 9 बजे का, दिस इज बार्सिलोना, दिस इज स्पेन, दिस इज नॉट द गल्फ और मलेशिया और एनी अदर प्लेस। ये वो पाकिस्तानी हैं जो सुबह लाइन अप होते हैं, और ये फैशन डिस्ट्रिक्ट में आपका कॉन्सुलेट है। और स्पेन इसलिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि अगर आप स्पेन की बाउंड्री में दाखिल हो जाएं इलीगली, स्पेन में एक लॉ है कि अगर आप 3 साल तक एग्जिस्ट कर लें तो आपको यूरोपियन रेजिडेंसी। Therefore, in Gujarat, Mandi Bahudin, Wazirabad, Lala Musa, everybody traverses mountains और होके स्पेन पहुंच जाता है। ये जो बच्चे आते हैं या जो लोग आते हैं उनके पास कोई डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं होता। एजेंट का मसला ही होता है कि उनको लैंड कराओ, उनके फिर वो आते हैं कॉन्सुलेट में या एम्बेसी में और कहते हैं मैं तो पाकिस्तानी हूँ। आपका जो सिस्टम है वहाँ वो इतना बुरा है कि उनको वो पाकिस्तानी पासपोर्ट लेने में महीनों और साल लग जाते हैं, और जब तक वो होते हैं वो एक्सप्लॉइट होते हैं उसके बाद। दिस हैपेंड आई थिंक 2 years ago, जब इमरान ने सऊदी अरेबिया में हमारे 6 लोग निकाले थे, ऑफिसर्स निकाले थे। मेरी सर्विस वाले बड़े नाराज हुए थे, बट आई थिंक ही एंड आई हैव नो love lost for one political party or the other, but I think he did the right thing. इतना, लेकिन even he didn't get it. उसने कर तो दिया, but neither he nor the current prime minister nor the previous prime ministers, they don't know what a common man abroad has to endure. याद रखें, आपको यहाँ प्रॉब्लम होती है ना, पानी नहीं होता, आपके पास अपना घर है, आपके पास तमाम तर मुसीबतों में भाई है, स्पाउस है, सिग्निफिकेंट अदर है, वहाँ मुसीबत ही मुसीबत है। सो ही टुक देम आउट, निकाल दिया। उनमें से कुछ रिस्टोर हुए हैं, कुछ नहीं हुए हैं। इन्वेस्टर को भी निकाल दिया। और ये बाबा हैं हमारी डिप्लोमेटिक थ्योरी के, उनका भी फर्स्ट डेफिनेशन है डिप्लोमेसी में कि सेंडिंग स्टेट के लोगों की मदद की जाए। एंड दिस इज योर कायद, जिनकी अपने जगह जगह तस्वीरें लगाई हुई हैं, और आपको मैं अनपार्लियामेंट्री लैंग्वेज नहीं यूज़ करना चाहता, और आपको बहुत कम पता है कि वो एक्चुअली आपके मुल्क के लिए क्या चाहते थे। एंड इस्लाम, आपने इस्लाम इस पे खर्च कर दिया कि टखनों पे पांचे कितने होने चाहिए, बालों का स्टाइल क्या होना चाहिए। माई सिविल सर्विस में दीज वर थिंग्स दैट वर डिस्कस्ड बिफोर आई केम देयर। इस्लाम इज जस्ट अबाउट हेल्पिंग, इट्स अ ब्रॉड रिलीजन, इट्स अबाउट हेल्पिंग द नीडी। The welfare concept in Islam you've forgotten. You are divided over other things. So you have so can you make the best, the most humanitarian mission? Remember, the statement is It would be better than the American mission in Barcelona. It would be better than the British mission. Let alone the Indians. You are too busy aping or comparing yourself with India, and it's not a state worth comparing. If you don't think higher, you can't go higher. Beta, मेरा ख्याल है, let's do the first video. You have to lay down the vision first. बेटा उसी में से जाएं, उसी में से स्लाइड्स और जिसका गरीब लुटा फुटा आदमी जब सरकारी अफसर के पास जाए तो सरकारी अफसर और उसका स्टाफ और उसका अगला वहां बोल के उसको शेल्टर दे। रियासत होगी माँ के जैसी, रियासत और सरकारी सर्विस माँ की तरह होनी चाहिए। रूल्स बाद में, माँ की ममता पहले। Can I just pause it for a minute? So, the basic premise is that if you take a civil servant with his master's degrees and his competitive exam, अगर आपने बैठ के कंप्यूटर के गंदे लॉज ही उससे इम्प्लीमेंट करवाने हैं, तो फिर बेहतर है कि आप किसी FA पास को भेज दें वहाँ। If you are not going to give him the sovereignty to act for humanism of Pakistan, and this is the Civil Services Academy. So, I have been thinking since I joined the civil service with sir, it's been consistent. So this is the Civil Services Academy Lahore, and this is my inaugural address to the 44th city. Keep in mind, it's these people you have to tend to. The common man of Pakistan that has been neglected because of its being a national security state. And nobody else, no doctor, no army officer has this consistent duty to serve them day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute. It's because of this that you are privileged. They have been treated traditionally. So, हमने तो ये मुल्क को ख्वार कर दिया अपनी फॉल्स डॉक्ट्राइन्स के पीछे। So this was my concern. ज़्यादातर अभी जहाँ मैं कोर्स करके ख़त्म हो रहा हूँ, कल पासिंग आउट है, वहाँ आर्मी ऑफिसर्स को नहीं बुलाते, आर्मी ऑफिसर्स सिविलियंस को नहीं बुलाते। आपने दो स्टेट्स बना दी, खाकी पाकिस्तान and a civilian Pakistan. He has tried many times to unite them, but others are not. So it's the same lesson to the Fauji. Destroyed the faith of the people of Pakistan and the state of Pakistan. So we're trying to teach these them. Some of you might say, how do you teach them all these things? We try. All of us will try. What happens next is not in our control. But if we don't try, then it's a blind end. So we go back to the presentation. वहीं से अगर आप बैक एरो कर लें, so अब सिविल सर्विस का एक बड़ी गंदी चीज़ इसमें असर आयत कर चुकी है कि आपकी शक्ल नजर ना आए और आप पीछे से बैठे ना, जिस तरह मोहल्ले की औरतें साजिशें करती रहती हैं कि जी सॉरी, आदमी भी करते हैं बिफोर यू रेज दैट इशू। आजकल के वैसे आदमियों में ज़्यादा ही खूबियाँ आ गई हैं, बैठ के पीछे से साजिशें करना, वो उसको ये कहेगा, फिर वो ये कहेगा, फिर मैं जी जाके यूट्यूब पे ये कहूँगा, भाई खुदा का वास्ता गेट ए लाइफ। द अनोनिमस सिविल सर्वेंट, द स्कीमिंग मासी, योर सिविल सर्वेंट इज अ स्कीमिंग मासी। अगर यहाँ बैठे हैं तो मैं उनको भी यही कह रहा हूँ। And you are torturing that person by sending everything back to Pakistan. That model is not correct, and you have to be forward. You have to be there. People should see you. The poor man should know that in this office there is a man who is going to have a different institution. और अगर मैं गरीब, नातमाम, कमजोर इसके दफ्तर में जाऊंगा तो ये मुझे प्यार करेगा। बाहर गेट पे चौकीदार मुझे नहीं कहेगा चले जाओ। That won't happen. Then there is the Pakistan narrative. ये सर जानते होंगे, एक आप लोग नहीं जानते, मुझे पता है आप लोग पढ़ते उड़ते नहीं। एक बंदा है तारिक फता, वो पाकिस्तान का जानी दुश्मन है, कनाडा में रहता है। एक है ताहिर गोरा, वो उसका असिस्टेंट है। दे हैड अ नेटवर्क। और आपके सफीर और आपके कौंसल जनरल तारिक फतह को फेस करने से इस तरह घबराते हैं कि वो काट लेगा, इसलिए कि उसने पाकिस्तान के मुतालिक पढ़ा हुआ है, और आपकी सिविल सर्विस इलिटरेट है। आई एम सो सॉरी, सीएसएस करने के बाद भी मोस्टली इलिटरेट। It doesn't know where Pakistan came from, where Pakistan is going, and I know because I was the director of the common training program for 2 years. और ये रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है, ये सुन लें जिसने सुनना है, ठीक है? So I used a Pakistani lady, a Pakistani anchor, and some Pakistanis provided them funds from the community welfare fund, set up 5 Pakistani channels, the digital stations, to fight with Tariq Fatah. I've confronted Tariq Fatah in 2 universities. और एक में जब उसको पता चला कि मैं आने वाला हूँ, तो वो कार पार्क से भाग गया। ये वो तारिक फतह है जिससे आपके मिलिट्री चीफ्स डरते हैं कि यार ये तो पाकिस्तान की बेइज्जती। मैं वीडियोस दिखा सकता था आपको, बट मैंने आपसे इतना कुछ शेयर करना है। सो स्टार्ट इस तरह हुआ था कि जब उस मुल्क में था जिसमें सर वाज कायद आज़म स्कॉलर इन कोलंबिया, मैं 2000 में मेरी पहली पोस्टिंग में 9/11 हो गया। एफबीआई घरों के बाहर कार्ड लगाती थी कि यू हैव टू सी मी टुमारो, और अगर आपके पास पासपोर्ट नहीं होता था, यू विल पुट इन सेल्स विद टेररिस्ट, and Pakistanis, most of them did not have their documents. So when I started to issue them passports to help them, I came to know कि जी ये तो आप कर ही नहीं सकते, आपने तो इंटीरियर केस भेजना है। And that was the moment when I defied and I developed this hatred of the civil servant of civil service of Pakistan. Being a civil servant and being inside, you'll be very surprised. I decided not to leave, but this narrative of the bureaucrat, ये इतनी बड़ी गाली है पाकिस्तानियों के लिए कि मैं आपको बता नहीं सकता। पहली दफा मैं वहां गया तो पता चला वीजा छुपाए हुए हैं। 17,000 पाकिस्तानी सस्पेंडेड एनिमेशन में थे। एक बटन था ओवररूल का, रिश्वत लेने के लिए पासपोर्ट का एडी दबाता था। दिस वाज द ओवररूल बटन। आप देखें तमाम बाकी जो हैं वो एक साथ हैं, एक्सेप्टेड, रिजेक्टेड। ओवररूल का मतलब है उसके कागज पूरे, लेकिन आपने लिख दिया कि वो पाकिस्तानी नहीं है। अब ये आदमी सस्पेंडेड नेशनैलिटी में बाहर, इसके पास शनाख्त ही नहीं है। ये आसिफ मेरे साथ आए हुए हैं, ये ओमान में भी कारनामा शुरू करने लगे। आपके सिविल सर्वेंट्स को पता ही नहीं कि स्क्रीन पे क्या, वो नीचे उस सेक्शन तक नहीं जाते। आपके एम्बेसडर्स बाबूज टाइयां पहनते हैं, धुन में रहते हैं अपनी, दे डोंट गो डाउन किसी। आज तक उनसे आप पूछे ना, कभी किसी नाक बहते हुए बच्चे का नाक आपने साफ किया? अपने बच्चे का भी नहीं किया होगा, दूसरों का क्या करना। लेट्स प्ले द वीडियो। नीचे कहीं होगा प्ले का बटन, यहाँ आता है। वीडियो नंबर 3 है। आप ओवरव्यू का बटन दबाओ, वो बेचारा अपने पासपोर्ट के इंतजार में बैठा रहेगा और उसको कहा जाएगा कि आपका पासपोर्ट तो पाकिस्तान से मर गया है। 4 साल से मेरा पासपोर्ट जो है वो फंसा हुआ था। अल्लाह के फजल की वजह से और उनकी कोशिशों की वजह से मुझे मेरा पासपोर्ट मिल गया। मैं consulate जनरल बार्सिलोना पाकिस्तान, उनका और उनके तमाम स्टाफ का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ जिनकी वजह से मेरा पासपोर्ट मिला। ये 3 साल पहले की है। बेटे स्लाइड्स पे चले जाओ, पावर पॉइंट पे। आप ये हो गया वो बेचारा प्रेजेंटेशन पे, बस हो गया। उसके बाद यू सॉ कोविड है। आई डोंट नो वेदर एनीबडी ऑफ यू हैज बीन टू स्पेन। स्पेन में हर वक्त एक ड्रम बज रहे होते हैं, लोग डांस कर रहे होते हैं, सड़कों पे जगह नहीं है बार्सिलोना में चलने की। इट्स वन ऑफ द मोस्ट हैपनिंग प्लेसेस। दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंड इन कोविड। इसने door खोल दिया उल्टी से. Oh, it's so good to see you, sir. Thank you. So, in COVID, this happened in Barcelona. This happened in Barcelona became death cells. The streets became death cells. आपके मुल्क में you had what 100 casualties a month. Barcelona had 1400 deaths in one day, and people did not even look out of windows in the initial months of February, March, April, and May. कि कहीं there were so many myths कि corona might travel into the air and get into your. People did not sit on benches कि they would get it. And there was an order from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, please go close all missions for 5 months. Every mission was closed, but the team in Barcelona, they decided we are going to risk ourselves, but we are going to help people. So when I make such a huge statement that we endeavor to create not the most human consulate of Pakistan, we attempted to create the most humanitarian diplomatic mission in the world, comparable to everybody else or even much better. So these are the streets. This is Sagrada Familia. Those of you who know it, it's a church that has never been completed. So what happened? Yes.
तमाम मुश्किलों के बावजूद दूर दराज से हमले के लोग बर वक्त पहुंच रहे हैं. कोरोना वायरस के सबूत आजकल कुछ भी नॉर्मल नहीं है. सेहत रिस्क पे है, ट्रैवल करना मुश्किल है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद हमारा पूरा स्टाफ पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी को सर्व करने के लिए यहाँ रोज मौजूद होता है. Consulate is providing food items to the people and the financial assistance. और consulate जो है पूरी तरह से फंक्शनल है.
ये दिखने का बाहर डिप्लोमेटिक मिशन है यहाँ पर मैनेजमेंट हो रही है सर शी इज द हेड ऑफ द consulate department इसकी हेड है.
So again, a diplomatic mission is supposed to be manned by guards outside. They check your ID, they send you and they throw you out. A transactional mission. So this mission was designed to be the most humanitarian one. So collaborating with the Spanish authorities, we had free corona testing. We made a lab out of one floor in a diplomatic mission, and was the British Consul General, so was the governor. They said your government is going to, and when we kept the mission open, Madrid was closed, Barcelona was closed, the local authorities, everybody in Barcelona was closed. It used to be a death city, except one office where the flag of Pakistan flew, where the lights were on, and they never allow you. But if you keep on doing the right things, they are afraid to stop you. If you are brave enough to push the envelope, they don't stop you. We were told that we could spend $5,000 per instant to help Pakistanis in disease, which is a huge amount. Most ambassadors and most of Pakistani mission heads did not touch the amount. It's out of a fund called the Community Welfare Fund. Why did they not touch it? Because next year they would have to face audits, and they would have to face her case में did you do due diligence, and they were afraid of being labeled. But if you saw the death that we saw there in Spain, I exhausted it. It was, I think, 150,000 euros or 250,000 euros. We distributed food and other things. It was not my money. Then, in the last 10 years, Pakistanis have to get IDs. Their children come. I was telling Professor Shafkat that Pakistani women in Toronto, where I was posted before that and afterwards, they used to change their children in the street or in hired taxis. Pakistan does not have the concept of change rooms for children. Earlier the logic was कि जी सिर्फ वो बच्चा passport बनवाता है या ID card बनवाता है, who's more than 18 years old, 10 years से you know that a newborn has to be, and a newborn has needs. He needs to be fed. He needs to change in pampers, and your missions don't have it. The guard outside says, "Go deal with this business out into the street." It's okay because you think diplomatic missions are for transactions only. So the toys came. Everybody working in the mission had an ID card with the cell phone number, with the email, and with the last line, which is very important. How may I help you? Usually, you see monsters, uh, even in developed countries. They say, "What can I do for you?" And you never know their names. The anonymous civil servant rules the world. That's the paradigm. But the anonymous civil servant can't be human. You can scheme anonymously, but you can't do humanity anonymously. And another innovation was that because Pakistanis, there are 150,000 Pakistanis there, because they were illiterate, so we got university students, and by the way, most of them girls, and we made help desks. So we obliterated a floor, we made help desks there, and every Pakistani coming at the gate could say, "I need help, I need to go to the help desk." And the help desk would help them free if it was advised. And if they had to apply for their ID cards and their visas, then a very nominal fee, because in the streets they were being looted. And I was telling you, Professor, that this online mantra, we have to go online, digitalization. What can you do with digitalization if your applicant is illiterate? How will he fill up the ID card forms? आप में से कोई ट्राई करे, नादरा का ऑफिस ना हो, घर बैठ के try applying for your ID card, and you are all educated postgraduate citizens. I'll see then. So Pakistan is also afflicted with this syndrome of going online and showing off. And I wish I could. They said this floor will be unoccupied. Then a time came when the help desk used to have 200 people. Something nominally, sort of a stipend because of providing services, carefully monitored by the Consul General himself. So these are all people who don't know what to do, how to apply for their documents, and in every mission they go to thekedars and agents and the mafia in the streets. If they are not provided help by a diplomatic mission, where will they go? That's how corruption starts. When your civil servants are impervious, there will be centers of providing services outside. And we cannot compare ourselves to other missions because Pakistanis are in a dilapidated state in Europe. You have to find solutions according to the problem. You can't copycat these places. And demonstrative reform. That's why I liked the gate of your college today. This is my first time I've come into your college. The guard took me. There's something called demonstrative pride. When I was posted, this is May of 2018. You'll be surprised. This is a grocery store chain. This is a grocery store chain, and this dark door is the Pakistan consulate. No sign, no flag. I'm very sorry I'm having to say this in front of you. These are our underbellies. And if you want to, yes, if you look very carefully, this is a flag. To see this flag in the fashion district of Barcelona, you probably had to lie down and look up. So everybody actually went to a pharmacy which had a green, wo nahi hota doctors ka. You know where the Pakistani consulate is? And to put the flag up and to get permission, it took me 7 months of fighting with the rigid people who were under me, whose careers I could destroy. But they deflected and they did other things. Eventually, they first only put a flag. They said, "Sir, flag the Pakistan consulate." I said, and I became sick. I became sick arguing every day with idiots So then this flag was Takhti, and eventually you had a sign saying that this is the Consulate General of Pakistan. Now Spanish people stand under it at 1 a.m. in the night, and they have TikTok saying, "Look, I'm below the Pakistani consulate." But to get these simple things done, the flag was never raised there. The Pakistani flag, it's a long story, can't do anything. And the events telling Pakistan to the world were non-existent. You had two military, a military consul general and an HSN studied CWA before me. And I'm so sorry to tell you that ये जो बाबूगिरी होती है, ये it's a state of mind, bureaucracies. So to tell what Pakistan is to the world, we held three huge events in 3 years. And the third one was to celebrate the Pakistani woman. And Pakistanis were considered, the 150,000 Pakistanis in Barcelona, in Spain, were considered retrogressive, fundamentalist, mullahs who had locked up their women. And you'll be surprised, sometimes people tell you there is no magic bullet for anything. I assure you that there are magic bullets and there are leapfrogging movements. If you do not keep looking at the best practices or copying things from the Lal Bahadur Shastri school or at other places and doing copy paste, there are leapfrogging movements. They can take place. And the only purpose I'm showing the videos to you is that because they were made by Deutsche Welle and German television stations, and they were made 3 years hence when people were there. So just imagine after that women's event, what do Spanish parliamentarians have to say about Pakistani women? Could you please?
कुछ वर्षों में इन खवातीन की वजह से राय आमा बदल रही है.
It's time to join us and whisper together. Thank you very much to all women from Pakistan. Love you. Viva la mujer pakistani.
We're Pakistani women. Today, I am convinced that Pakistani women are in all the jobs, in all the principal responsibilities.
ये पाकिस्तानी खवातीन पुरअज़्म हैं कि वो इंसानी खिदमत के इस सफ़र को तमाम मसाइल और चैलेंजेस के बावजूद जाएं.
So it was simple. You picked up the 300 Pakistani women who were studying in PhD programs. Nobody knew them earlier. Those who were working, those who had done things for humanity. We were surprised at how well the Pakistani girl was working there. And to tell you something, because there is going to be a tragedy in the end here. I removed all the men from all the local staff. I employed the Pakistani girl, and I can tell you that in working, in duty, and in other things, I'll be so sorry if the men mind it. Pakistani women are more conscientious workers than Pakistani men. The only problem is they have this internet sign, थोड़ी सी वो yeah. Please. Just continue.
आपकी भरपूर तालियों में पाकिस्तान वुमेन क्रिकेट टीम
जिंदाबाद.
You can play cricket outside. Nobody's going to say anything. In Barcelona, the society was so conservative that girls used to play inside a hidden stadium, and their fathers did not know. When the mayor of the city told me, "Can you do something about it, Constable?" I just called up every home and I said, "Why are you stopping your girl from playing cricket? Is it a guna?" Except a little reluctance. When they saw the state of Pakistan coming behind the woman, they relented. And those who never showed their face playing cricket, they were brought on stage and given medals. So here's the Pakistan. You are lucky. You are still in a more liberal country than the Pakistani diaspora abroad, which has confined itself to ghettos. Ghettos are confined spaces and mentally confined spaces. Please.
उनके वालिदैन को आई एम श्योर मैंने उनको बुलाया था कि बैठे होंगे. मैं आपका निहायत शुक्रगुजार हूँ कि आपने बार्सिलोना का और झूठ आज तोड़ दिया?
The Pakistani community during 50 years.
So this is the deputy governor of Catalonia. Your rector will tell you that it's very difficult for it's not considered right for, say, the governor of uh, Punjab to see a consul general and say, look, you have done this. Usually those meetings are confined to quiet spaces, not what. So he came and he said, for 17 years the Pakistani woman had been locked in. And in 6 months you gave her breathing space. Why I'm saying these things is because my statement of intent is to prove to you that an attempt was made to create the most humanitarian diplomatic mission in the world. It's a very tall aim. So let's see where did we end up. Please play.
Many meetings with
Let's go back to the presentation. So there are leapfrogging moments. You can release if the state has the right attitude. You can work wonders. Then there's something called parole. Do most of you know what parole is?
Yes,
Can anybody tell me what parole is?
it's the release of an individual from the custody, from the prison.
Fine. So if somebody has got a 3-year sentence and his behavior is good, you're going to let him go and ask him to report after every 2 weeks, after every. There's one condition: you need a valid passport for that. And the attitude of the Pakistani Afsar was so bad that they did not let police officers bring Pakistanis, and Pakistan went on the digital bandwagon. Which means even if you want to get your passport, you will have to sit in front of the computer in the passport. Kahan hai sir? Garden town kidhar hai sir? Garden town, you have to go there, sit down, put your finger in. So what would happen to a person who's confined in a jail? His parole depends on a passport, and he can't be released to go to the mission. And so there was not one single Pakistani on parole enjoying Spanish liberty. So you had to do unconventional things. And if you play the first video, you'll be surprised at what you have to do that. Pause. This incident is captured secretly. It's unethical. So when I went there, every Pakistani prisoner, when I started bringing the first one is I took their passports from Spanish authorities and I used my right as the head of the mission. It's done in very exceptional cases. I went to every jail and extended all their passports. And people there went into sajda after getting out of jail. You know, remain confined. You know, parents lock their child up. I'll lock you for 2 hours. The child can take a beating, but he won't take a locking up for 2 hours because a lockup reduces him to the dark of that room. So humanity is let him get parole. If you can't bring him to the consul general, the consul general should go there. Nobody can stop him from going to a jail. And this one was, there's a Pakistani, if you see him, he is in, they said, okay, we'll bring them, but they'll be confined. I said, you cannot have a Pakistani in handcuffs in the property of Pakistan. And we had 3 Spanish people are very loving people, but their law enforcement was not used to this. So they had 3 or 4 confrontations, and then they realized he is not going to issue travel documents for anybody. You have to put your foot down. And then they relented. They said, okay. Not only did they not bring them in handcuffs later on inside, they even in the van, they stopped putting handcuffs on, they only had them in chains. So again, you have to sometimes fight for your citizens. That can only happen if you have pride in your citizens. So this was one of the altercations that was recorded by one of the consular employees at that time. Let's see it. So a long altercation happened, but eventually the citizen of Pakistan did not wear a handcuff in Pakistani, because what would happen to him when he would see other consular applicants? There are no separate doors. It was just one three-story mission. And then the most important thing, which actually Bob Riley was the American Consul General there. You'll see his face later on. When he came to me and he said, is it true that you have given your WhatsApp number to 150,000 Pakistanis? Does every I said yes, and he said I can't do that. In the American system, I can't cross that threshold. But he became an admirer, and I learned many things from him also. How to bring business into the function on 23rd March, 14th August. He taught me how to bring small businesses, have mega functions, how to do something for Pakistan. But let's play this second video, sir. Video also.
हर इंसान को वो चाहे या ना चाहे मेरा हेड ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूशन का व्हाट्सएप नंबर दिया जाता है, जबरदस्ती पकड़ाया जाता है और तमाम 17 के 17 ऑफिसर्स के ये नंबर पकड़ाया जाता है। सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ एक अवामी और अवाम की बहबूद की इंस्टीट्यूशन बनाने के लिए अफसरान और अवाम के दरमियान कांस्टेंट रब्ता है।
Let's go back to the presentation. So the downside was that Pakistanis from Frankfurt, from Berlin, from Paris, from Budapest, they suddenly came to know that Barcelona is sort of a paradise to go and get your documents done. All other are hellish institutions. So they crossed into the Black Forest, into bad terrain, and they used to come to Barcelona to get their things done. We never turned anyone back. It was very easy. Go to your mission in Frankfurt. This is Spain. That's the law. We never turned. And we did it, and that gave 800,000 people in Europe knew that there was one place where there will be humans dealing with them. That was in Spain. And they took unpalatable risks to come there. Express yourself. You need to be. This is not the law, and this might not be agreed to. Your rector is a diplomat of long standing. For Pakistanis abroad, the Consul General's face should be known in every home. You have to be with them, for them, to cross this threshold. The only institution that till 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before that was reversed, it used to have full Sunday service. Started at 8:30 Sunday morning, ended at 7 p.m. on Sunday. Again against the law. The Pakistani government is closed on Saturdays and Sundays. But it used to be. But eventually that was something that was reversed. 2 weeks ago, they're no longer open on Sunday. But for those 4 or 5 years, even in COVID, the consulate used to open on Sunday, and 500 or 600 people were processed on a Sunday. The video, please. We want to see it. Pause. Oh, why am I showing you this video? So there were 6 flights taking Pakistanis out of Europe in COVID because flights stopped. So this particular person is a terminal cancer patient, right? So he was traveling on it. PIA was not allowing it. I gave my guarantee because he wanted. He had 48 hours. Eventually, it turned out he had 48 hours. So that he could finally die in the lap of his children and his wife. And the surprising part is there was life-saving medicine going out of Spain, and we forgot in the special flight to book it. So this man who's going to go to the gods after 48 hours carried these medicines in his lap, and he promised that I will take them. And it so happened the person for in Lahore for whom he took the medicines, he died after 1 week also. So when flights were to be taken out of other Pakistani missions, ministers used to call. मेरा बच्चा आ रहा है, उसको ले जाओ, फलाना student, the elite had to go. We opened the PIA office in the consulate, and we evacuated those who were terminally ill, and you will be surprised to know how widespread cancer is in your own country because it's still considered a taboo. And how prevalent is it in the Pakistani communities abroad? So we had these cases that broke me, and I'm sure my staff. So we transported cancer patients, terminally ill patients on the flights, and there were so many human stories that I can write a thick book on it. Please play it.
मेरा भाई बीमार है और उसको ट्यूमर कैंसर है, उसका पाकिस्तान पहुंचना बहुत ज़रूरी था और ये जो फ्लाइट आज जा रही है और मेरा भाई उस पर ऑन बोर्ड है।
There are babies who are sick too. So, out of the Community Welfare Fund of Pakistan, we sent these babies in case their parents didn't want to go because they were illegal. We sent them through consular officers, and that's what happens when you employ girls. And that's what came in handy. That they could carry the children back home to their grandparents because in many cases there was no hope. I didn't want to show you these things, but unless I show you, and where your rector came to lecture us the public policy heaven for Pakistan, they don't know about it. They think everybody who goes abroad sends back dollars. They're all very happy and they are hunky dory. There's a huge dark world which nobody knows about. I was ordered to send back all the manual passports जो हाथ से लिखे जाते हैं. I kept all the 7,000 passports defying the government of Pakistan, and I issued them and I regularized them. And although I still have insomnia, but theoretically I should be having a good night's sleep. Somehow it doesn't work that logically. Visas, we had the record. We issued visas in 24 to 48 hours. The government mandate is 14 days. Very few people want to travel to Pakistan, given the bad image that Pakistan has abroad. So if a Spanish citizen or a European citizen or a North American citizen wants to come to Pakistan, you should offer him coffee and you should process his visa quickly. You create so many insurmountable hazards in front of them. God knows which logic do we follow. The flights, you already know, people came from Hungary, Italy, France, then you get to Barcelona, and the government of Spain, very surprising. They knew that there was only one mission that was working. I flew to Madrid and asked the foreign minister with my ambassador, who were always supportive. I asked them, look, let those Pakistanis come visa free into Spain. and they agreed. And there was not one case of running away. There were 140 visa-free entries who could go to the airport. They were monitored, some of Spanish, and they were flown out to Pakistan during COVID. Let's play this video. I think it's about the help desk.
बार्सिलोना कॉन्सुलेट की जो सबसे बड़ी इनोवेशन है जिस पर मुझे फख्र है वो हेल्प डेस्क का कहना है। हुकूमत पाकिस्तान ने अपने हिसाब से ऑनलाइन जाने के लिए तमाम चीज़ें ऑनलाइन कर दी। अब एक एवरेज बच्चा जो यहाँ आता है या एवरेज एडल्ट वो ऑनलाइन कोई एप्लीकेशन फिल नहीं कर सकता। तो इसलिए हमने यहाँ एक ही छत के नीचे हेल्प डेस्क का क्याम किया। तमाम तालीम की कमियाँ पूरी उनको हेल्प करते हैं, असिस्ट करते हैं, ID कार्ड अप्लाई करते हैं ऑनलाइन, वीजा ऑनलाइन अप्लाई करते हैं और तमाम वो असिस्टेंस देते हैं जिससे काम आसान हो जाए।
So again, you see these are ladies that are helping them. The logic was that in a conservative city like Barcelona, if you put a woman in front of the rowdy, illegal Pakistanis, they would not let her work. You'll be surprised that Pakistani men behave better when they have a woman sitting across the desk. Until you push the envelope, you won't know. Our society has become a belief-based society which has beliefs based on myths, on rumors, on myths spread can't. We never try to break the myth. And whenever you try to break the myth, you'll be surprised that Pakistan has many bright spots inside which you don't know about. So maybe it's authoritarianism. Maybe I defied the government of Pakistan. Madrid and Islamabad, I never took permission for anything from my ambassador. And they understood, fine, let's avoid this. But then things become dark. I don't want to use the word Chatham House rules or anything. If I'm saying something and it is being recorded, it can be transmitted to the person I'm going to show. So Pakistan does Kashmir rallies. I think Pakistan's moral stand on Kashmir is correct. We might be wrong in many other things. We have made terrible mistakes over the years, but our stand on Kashmir is correct. And Pakistan holds rallies. So when I became very popular in Barcelona, I used to just send a Facebook post saying that we will gather for Kashmir in Plaza Catalonia at 6 p.m. on a Sunday. And people used to throng. That put such people out of business. They are agency sponsored agents who take money and they raise the Kashmir issue. You have sort of sublet Pakistan causes to these mafias. His name, I don't know how many years I have to live. There is no point in hiding. His name is Mr. Parvez Loser. He gets a direct entry. He doesn't stop for immigration at Pakistani airports. He has a direct access to the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister. And he went out of business because you can collect 7 or 8 people for Kashmir if you are an agent of Kashmir. So this was his performance in Europe, 20, 25. But when a Pakistani Consul General just sends a small one-liner note, and if people respect him, he doesn't need to go there, they come out. And he went out of business. He went out of business all over Europe. So then he then attacked me. And he had the backing of at that time, he had the backing of the ISI. So he attacked me and I endured the attack. If you push the envelope, you'll have to endure the attack. So he had 20 people. Plaza Catalonia became full after just one small one-liner post. He said, "Get him out of here. How will I earn business. And then there is this man, he's on the red list of Pakistan. He's on the Interpol red list. He does the karobar of taking dead bodies to Pakistan. When the consulate itself started doing the dead bodies and one-third of it, he turned against the consulate. And let's see how Losar attacks you. Please play the video. So he used to protest every day, and I simply threw him out of the consulate. And I called the ISI chief, I got the number 2, and I said, this man is a scum. How can you support him? The civil officers in Pakistan are afraid of talking to the top military. That's how the paradigm. If you have nothing to hide, if you don't fear anything, why don't you call them? So I called him, I got the number 2. Eventually the head called me. And he said he's a very valuable asset. The ambassador in Geneva says he's very valuable. The ambassador in Brussels. How come you're telling me that he eats bhatta or, sorry, bhatta ko English mein sir kya kahenge? Extortion. Thank you, sir. He extorts people in the name of getting their things done by the law enforcement agencies in Pakistan. And let me tell you, there was initial anger, but eventually they called me and said, sir, he will not enter Spain till the time you are here. And he never entered Spain till the time I was there. But again, this is transactional. The Pakistani institutions did not realize that he's a criminal. What sort of concession is this? We won't let him enter till you are there. And the moment I go, he will become a doodh mein dhula an anointed Pakistani. And lo and behold, 1 year after I've gone, he is being nominated for a Nishan-e-Pakistan or something by the Pakistani. I'm so sorry, but you should know, your youngsters, you've got to change this country. We became very good friends. He was from the center of, I think he was from one of the central states of the US. He loved guns, and we used to fight every day because I said guns are not good. And he used to tell me, you don't know what guns are for the American people. But other than that, we had unanimity of views. And when one of my consular assistants lost his father in Houston, and he went to apply for a visa, his visa was rejected. And I called him up, and he said, Consul General, are you sure his father is died? I said yes. And he called, and he had his visa issued, and he could go and cry on the grave. So we became very good Pakistanis. He became an admirer, but he always told me, I can't have this WhatsApp nonsense given to the people. This is too painful. Yes, this video. We are coming to the end. We almost ended. Pause, please. So it's not that you don't get appreciation. Very few ambassadors get direct appreciation from ministers. You do get. But in the long run, the Pakistani state is impervious to humanitarianism. They don't realize that they've got this narrative laid down for the Pakistani state. A human state according to the 1946 Cabinet Mission Plan. They have it laid down. Yet they keep going around in circles. They've lost East Pakistan because of their stupidities. You could have saved East Pakistan even in the summer of 1971. You only had to send Bhutto to Dhaka to attend the assembly session. The military was in power. They pick people up even now. He just should have picked Bhutto up and sent him. Had he not gone, he would have been exposed. But they fell into his trap because he took Yahya to Lord Kana and all that. That's a long story. It calls for a lecture in itself. And it has many unpalatable things as well. Please play it, sir. The labor minister. बहुत ज़्यादा इनका ख्याल रखते हैं और आवाम और पूरे हमारे मुसीबत बड़े खुश हैं और हम इनको अप्रिशिएट भी करते हैं और हम जो बाकी कॉन्सुलेट हैं उनको और गेम से सीख This pause please. This is the governor of Catalonia. The previous one was the deputy governor. So he just entered one day without informing us, and he said, "I want to see what I've heard." So luckily I was there, so I came down, and he said, "I have never seen a more humanitarian diplomatic mission." He's saying it in Spanish. He says, "ये क्या तुमने मचाया हुआ है? बच्चों के लिए खिलौने, बच्चों के लिए खेलने की जगह, चेंज रूम्स, अनलिमिटेड एक्सेस, अनलिमिटेड गोइंग, फोन नंबर, लिफ्ट के ऊपर कौन सा चैनल की तस्वीर और फोन नंबर?" प्ले
और अगर अफसर को खिदमत खल्क के जज्बे में और इस खिदमत खल्क में किसी ने तब्दील किया है मुझे 20-22 वर्ष हो गए मुशायरा करते हुए मेरे सामने वो
So people used to come, people used to praise, but there was no time even to listen to them. But people made documentaries on the concept. They don't do that. In the presentation, there are links after links, top Pakistani anchors. So it's not that you are not appreciated. You are. But continuity is a problem. I'm ending it now. The last video, please. Pause, please. So this is a journalist who is from Punjab Euro TV. He has this knack of going into places and criticizing the government. So one day he entered Barcelona and he started asking the common man कि यार ये बड़ी शोहरत सुनी है तो क्या हुआ? And then he put up he's a people called him a blackmailer, but he was not that. All journalists are not blackmailers. Please.
पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी के लिए अल्लाह पाक ने उनको फरिश्ता भेजा है जो कहते हैं ना कॉन्सुलेट एक माँ का किरदार अदा करती है वो उसका आपने अमली दर बार्सिलोना में आप देख सकते हैं वाहिद स्पेन मुल्क है जो पाकिस्तान डेड बॉडी भी भेज रहा है जहाँ तक इंसानियत का तलक है ना वो एक रोल मॉडल है तो कोई भी जो साइड जब वो एंटर होता है कौशल वाले में तो वहाँ पर उसको 10 दिन पर
This is the taxi sector of Pakistan. So that was that. Let's come to the end of the presentation about what did not endure. And these are movies, documentaries made by DW, made by BBC on the consulate. And I could only find some of the links, but I'm not going to play any of it. What has not endured? So what has not endured is that passports now go to Islamabad and the people are again stuck up. No manual passports, no parole. The Pakistani prisoner is dying in jail. Dead body deadlines, dead bodies used to be sent in a week. Now, because they have again gone to the community, they take months. They are stored and the rate increases. So the longer the dead body is stored in a mortuary, the more his relatives have to pay. And it's nowadays 7,000 euros to take a body back home. Visas, all other reforms have endured. So they could not take down the building, they could not take down the play area, they could not take down the help desk because that would have resulted in a community repository. But some of the things have not. And eventually, I don't want to go into it. It's a big tragedy that the best woman officer faced harassment. The moment I came back after 6 months, she faced harassment, and with great shame and great trepidation, I'm telling it in front of Mr. Appleton and Mr. Shukar that the harassment was done by my successor, and he was removed from Spain because diplomatic immunity. So, what do you think happened to me? I worked for 4 years for a dream. So, what can you do? You can persevere as long as you can. वो एक शेर है उर्दू का, आप सबको आता होगा कि अपने हिस्से की क्षमा चलाने वाला. But most of the reforms have endured. There is no new consul general. Just imagine from the heights to the lows, one bad man, one bad person can destroy everything. But the consulate is not destroyed. It's still a humanitarian institution, but some of the flaws have returned. 3 of the best lady officers have left the mission. 3 or 4 ladies, Rabia Shafiq or Bakiyon ko, they were appointed as consul general, they refused to go. From a woman-friendly place, women officers are afraid to go after that one incident. So that's life. And I underwent severe clinical depression because I was ambassador somewhere else. And I couldn't go back and tear people's clothes and say, what have you done? So before I got help, and then I got out of depression. I don't know whether I'm totally out of it. If you dream for something and then this happens, it raises a question. Maybe dreams are dreams. But still, I think the consulate endures as one of the humanitarian. But 2 weeks ago, they stopped the Sunday work. What can I do? I'm not in charge. I can open the Omani embassy on a Friday, and there I have 7 or 8 departments working under me. So I'll have to throttle them to do that. So to be a humanitarian, you have to put your health, your peace of mind, and you have to struggle. And then it depends on every person how far you can go. Should you push the envelope at the cost of your own family? At the cost of your health? Or should you have a middle path somewhere? This is a problem for Pakistan because the Pakistanis abroad need your help. They need help of Pakistani foreign mission. So let's end it here. Thank you for listening to me very patiently. And it was an honor to be at Formal Christian College. And like I told them, sir, the moment I entered the gate, I thought I had entered a different universe. So may the institution prosper and may it provide education in Pakistan. Thank you.